Welcome to Unit 3. This unit is entirely focused on the research argument. So to begin, we need to talk about what even is that. And I think it might seem a little silly, like, well, it's an argument that you research. Yeah, but what does that really mean? I'm not a fan of using the words of the actual term or the type of essay in the definition, because that doesn't help you understand what I'm looking for. So you can read this slide, but essentially you're making a conclusion after you have done research in order to answer some questions that you have that you're curious about. So this is opposite what most people do when they write an argument, and it's why we have such a problem, in my opinion. It's why we have such a problem with sort of fake news or unreliable arguments in the media and in politics, because people have a conclusion and then they go find evidence that supports it instead of thinking, well, I wonder what a solution is to the budget crisis, and then looking at multiple perspectives with different plans, different thoughts about how you could solve this crisis, then formulating your own conclusion, which might be a combination of different people's thoughts or plans. So I urge you to think and to do this the way that I'm asking. Just trust me, instead of starting with the conclusion you already have and building an argument that way. You might find that you change your mind, or that you have a different perspective after you do the research, and that's really how you can be smarter and more informed and not continue to add to the faulty arguments that are plentiful out there. So why the research argument? I kind of explained that already, but here are some things to keep in mind. All these things are skills you're going to build on and things you're going to do when you do the research argument. First and foremost, you have to be interested in the topic. I've already said that about the annotated bibliography. If you want to build on that same topic, fine, but many of you might have found when you were trying to find sources that isn't going to work for you. Perfectly fine, pick another one, it's up to you. You are going to try and answer some questions, and ultimately, which is part of any introductory level course in a college program, you are trying to develop skills. And in this case, I really do think they can help you be taken more seriously. When you spout off because you're emotional or because you feel strongly about something, such as some of the things that are going on in our world right now, whether that's COVID-19 and you're really passionate about, the way that the governors have closed things or not, or the president's handling it. When we get emotional and we are personally invested in things like the narrative argument, we tend to have a faulty argument. And that's not your fault. It just is what it is, right? Our emotions are not logical. They're just not, by definition. So we have to not remove that. It's good to have passion, and it's important to have, honesty and openness with your feelings. But as an academic, and honestly, just as a person who wants to make a point and wants people to hear you and take you seriously, you've got to research it and have backup. You might have heard from a teacher before, and this might sound harsh, but it's true. Like, I don't care about your opinion. Everybody has one, unless you have something to back it up. And that's really what we're going with here. So when you're choosing a topic, again, it has to be something you're curious about and genuinely interested in. This is the same slide I asked you to look at for the annotated bibliography topic. And I think if you have answers to these questions, it will really help you choose one that's appropriate. So you can choose the same one as the narrative essay. It can be the same one as the annotated bibliography. But if you're bored with it, pick something new. So what is a research question? I've been talking about these questions that you want to answer. It has to be an open question. It can't be, why is the sky blue? What is, traumatic brain injury? Well, that's an answerable question by Googling. So it has to have multiple possible answers, and there have to be almost competing or varied viewpoints on the subject. Now, there isn't much in this world that there aren't multiple viewpoints on, so don't get into the trap about opinions. I mean, you need to be able to research and find different academic, professional, trusted opinions on this particular question. And it can be multiple questions that are related, but you need to ultimately settle on one that you're trying to answer, because we don't have enough weeks to make this a multiple question project. It's going to guide your research, so it will inform your search terms when you're looking in databases and on Google Scholar or Google. It's also going to be the subject of your essay, but you can turn this question into your thesis statement, which I will talk to you about next week. So just keep in mind that it needs to be more than a level 1, what is blah, blah, blah. Okay, it has to be something that you can actually find multiple perspectives on. So here's what you're going to do. Determine your topic. You probably already know it. So then you're going to have to figure out some research questions you'd like to answer. And you're going to try to meet the criteria that I just showed you here. Put that in your journal. I'm going to have journal number 3 with instructions just like the other 2 that you've done. And I will give you feedback on the actual journal entry about whether those questions, or which one I think might be the best one, are going to be appropriate for this assignment. It's not about whether the questions are good or bad. It's about whether or not they're going to help you write this assignment. I'll be posting things that will help you as you move forward. I know some of you like to move quicker than others. I know some people already know what it is they're going to write about, but others don't. So I'm not going to, move the timeline or anything on the course calendar, but I do want to make sure that those who want to keep working fast after they post in their journal can do so. So I'll be posting things in the Unit 3 folder that you need to move forward. Ultimately, this is our last assignment for the last major assignment for the semester. So I do want you to be able to get rolling if you want. That said, do not do too much. I think many of you found out that you have to turn in something for a draft and for peer feedback. And I don't want you committed to writing a long essay and then you're going to have to go back and make all these changes. So just be aware that I have it stepped out for a reason. So you'll go to journal first, work from there, and then you can go ahead and continue researching to build a list of sources that's varied. You have to find multiple points of view, particularly if they are not your point of view. Remember that you're trying to look at other people's thoughts and figure out what you think about that. So that might be academic journal articles, it might be newspaper, magazine, it might be videos. It could be any number of the types of sources that are on the annotated bibliography or beyond. So go ahead and get started with the journal, and then I will provide feedback to you there, either guiding you in a different direction or confirming what you put in, and then we will move on from there.